Hi there, my name's Philip and I'm going to do a quick video on installing 3CX IP PBX. Now 3CX is a IP PBX and allows you to connect SIP phones and SIP telephony service providers all together, also with VoIP gateways. What that means is that you'll be able to connect standard SIP phones to your PBX and then route calls either out over to a internet service provider to obviously terminate the calls, or to if you have, say for example, you have some PSTN or ISTN lines in your office or building, then you can send the calls out through those. Or if there's a cheaper ISP doing cheaper rates to landlines or mobiles, then you can set up dialing plans to send the calls out either way. The advantages for 3CX or an IP PBX is that there's no proprietary hardware. So basically it's all open standards. You can pick up any off-the-shelf SIP phone, so a SNOM or a Yeelink or a Linksys, and it will all play nicely together. So what we're going to do here is install 3CX phone system version 10, and then we're going to configure one extension and go through some of the options that 3CX gives us. Right, so here we've got the installer, which you can download from the 3CX website. You will have to enter some details about yourself, just your name, your company name and an email address, and then you can obviously access the downloads area. So we're just going to launch this installation, and we're going to say run. So we're going to click on run, and the installer will extract its files. And then it will do some checking on the system to make sure that the system is compatible. Normally with 3CX, you can install it on virtually any type of hardware that you currently have in your office. It will coexist and play nicely with other other systems, other softwares, providing you obviously take into account what that particular software needs and what 3CX needs. So on here, for example, we need 1 GB of RAM or higher, a Pentium 4, and it will work on most Windows operating systems. So we're just going to click on next. I must point out, the only reason that you would install this as a standalone PBX is if you have a very high amount of users that are going to be connecting to your system. So yeah, like we say, we're going to click next. We're going to just click next, where we're going to accept the license agreement and click next. It's going to prompt us where we want to install the PBX, and it's just going to be the default of program files and 3CX phone system, and click next. For my particular installation, it's grayed out and automatically selected the Abyss web server. However, on other systems you can install it with Microsoft IIS, which is actually the preferred way to install it because it scales a lot better. But in my case, because I'm on a Windows XP 32-bit Service Pack 3 computer with all the latest patches and updates, this is just selected the Abyss web server, and click next. And now we're ready to begin the installation process. So I'm just going to click on install, and it's going to go through and examine all of the prerequisites. Anything that it needs, it will go out and find and download, or it will prompt you what you need and then install. Then you'll have to go and obviously install that particular package So on my computer it's saying that we need to download .NET 4 framework. So what I'm going to do is pause the video and come back once we've installed the .NET framework. So as you can see now, .NET Framework version 4 has been downloaded successfully and is now proceeding to install it onto this particular system. So we'll come back once this is once it's completing the installation of .NET. Okay, so .NET 4 has now been installed successfully. So I'm just going to click on Finish. And ideally what you would do is restart the computer and then carry on installing 3CX. I'm going to pause the video, restart, and we'll come back once this is restarted. Okay, so we're back with 3CX installation. It's now continued and is proceeding to install the 3CX phone system. And as you can see, it's copying the files across to the computer. And we're just going to pause the video here and we'll catch up with it once it's finished copying the files across. Okay, so as you can see, all of the files have copied across and 3CX has been installed successfully. So we're just going to click Finish. And what it should do now is launch a little wizard to guide us through the process of setting up 3CX for the first time. So I'm just going to close this window in the background. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to select English because I'm English. Click Next. My local IP address. If you have multiple interfaces, then you can select whichever one you're going to be using for 3CX. The public IP address, that's going to be your WAN address. So for example, if you're going to be having remote sites connect, but in this case I'm just going to leave this blank because I'm not going to have any sort of remote sites or remote workers connecting back into this system. On this page, 3CX gives you the option to restore a backup or restore existing settings from another PBX. And there's a video on YouTube at the moment labeled, I think it's 3CX restoring your settings, but we're just going to create a new PBX for the time being. I'm going to use 4-digit dialing for my PBX, and I'm going to set the SMTP server so that it can send me email notifications such as voicemails, system updates, and anything of that nature. So I'm just going to leave that as default for the time being. If you were going through and doing this for real, you would enter either your internal mail server or your SMTP mail server that's been assigned to you by your ISP. And here we're going to select a administrator username and password. So I'm just going to enter one here. And we'll need this later for logging on and administrating the system. Here I'm going to create an extension. I'm going to select 1000 for a receptionist. I'm going to call it Recep, and everything else we're just going to leave as default. On the bottom here there's the option to you can enter the MAC address of a phone and then select the model that you're using from the list, and 3CX does provide a lot of phones that it can auto provision, and obviously the auto provision address would be the address that you're using for 3CX. So if you have loads of interfaces or loads of IP addresses assigned to a computer, you can just select that from here. So I'm just going to click on Add. We can set up extensions later, and that will be covered in the next part of this video. So the operator extension, I'm just going to have that as 1000. Voicemail extension, I'm going to leave that as is. On this page it asks you to specify if you're using a VoIP gateway, such as Gradwell or Orb-Talk. Let's see what else is on the list. If you're using VoIP-Talk, for example, then you'd select that from the list, or you could just create a generic SIP trunk. I'm just going to skip this because I'm not going to attach a SIP trunk to this system at the moment. And now 3CX will go through and create the database. It will put loads of information in there for you, and then start up all of the services so that you can then auto provision a phone, or you can just manually configure a phone to connect to 3CX. So here you can see that it's now starting up all of the core services for 3CX. And as you can see, that's now done, so I'm just going to click on Next. Registration, do you want to register with 3CX themselves? For this I'm just going to skip it, but it's a good idea and good practice to register with them, so I'm just going to skip that. And on the final screen I'm just going to click on Finish. And then it takes you to the web admin for 3CX. So that's the installation and configuration of one extension. In the next part of this video, we're going to go through some options in the web admin for one of the extensions.